Of all the characters past that we have yet to explore in depth, Makima's might be the one which interests me the most, as with her ultimate demise in the series, or at least that's how it appears so far, we can't get any further story going forwards for what was a pretty major member of the cast, so if we are to gain any more insight into her character we'll have to go backwards, back to before she met Denji for the first time, back to a time before even the earliest points in the series so that we can truly understand the devil who came to love humanity in Chainsaw Man. But before I get into all of that, I'd like to remind you that I'm going for 500 subscribers before the end of the year. It would be awesome if you would join me on that journey if you're new to the channel, and if you are returning, then you already know how I do these videos. So, with that bit of self-promotion out of the way, let's get into today's topic, Makima's past. We know precious little about Makima's past, and what we do know is difficult to put into a concrete timeline. We don't even know how long Makima was active as the Control Devil, if she was the first Control Devil making her ancient beyond belief, or if she was a fairly recent incarnation. The facts we know for certain include that she witnessed Chainsaw fighting against several devils which no longer exist, that she was summoned or at the very least made a pact with the Prime Minister of Japan and became a part of the public devil hunter organization, while obscuring her identity as the Control Devil from the general staff and a majority of the world. We can also hazard a guess at certain events in her life, such as how Kishibe comments that if Nayuta was left in the government's care, she would just end up as another Makima, so presumable Makima was raised by the government at least in some capacity. So with that all set out for us, buckle up as I'm about to explain to you how I foresee Makima's backstory going, or at least the outline of it. First, I don't believe Makima to be the first Control Devil, as while it is stated that the history of mankind is strengthening Makima, I believe that's more in the context of the Control Devil's existence, rather than Makima specifically. What I believe is that, for obvious reasons, the Control Devil isn't much liked in hell. After all, no one enjoys being controlled, right? We even have precedent for this, as Makima, or the Control Devil, after being killed on Earth was functionally spawn killed in hell and reborn on Earth as Nayuta. So I come to the conclusion that Makima was born on Earth as a devil lacking memories and a purpose, similar I assume to Nayuta, and was taken in by the Japanese government, being raised in such a way as to instill her with a love for humanity so as to prevent her from going all homicidal, only their methods lacked a certain humanizing element to them, too focused on making certain she didn't turn against humanity to bother trying to humanize her, or instill her with basic understanding of human sense of right and wrong. This is why Kishibe says that if Nayuta was to be raised by the government she would end up like Makima again, because once again they would be focused on trying to make sure she doesn't turn out to be a loose cannon rather than actually providing her the love and care required to give her the developed sense of right and wrong. At some point after Makima had grown up and had finished her education under the government, she joined the Public Devil Hunter organization and formed a contract with the Japanese Prime Minister. Of course, I believe she wasn't put in as a grunt but rather put in directly as an officer, the government covering up her existence as the Control Devil. It has been theorized that Makima might have been partnered or at least worked with Kishibe for some time, after Quanxi left to head to China. It would explain the informal relationship they have, the fact that Kishibe seems to know so much about Makima, and the fact that Makima doesn't seem capable of controlling Kishibe. It might be because of prior engagements that she is unable to view him as less than herself, thus making it impossible for her to control him. It's not an impossibility, in fact I could see the two of them acting as buddies for a time, but during that time Kishibe came to recognize just how dangerous and inhuman Makima was, thus it caused him to separate from her. Either way, there does seem to be history beyond what we have seen regarding these two. After this point is when I feel like Makima witnessed Chainsaw Man's chaos for the first time. For whatever reason she ended up going to hell, perhaps on a mission or perhaps she ended up there some other way, but the point is she did. The reason I say she ended up in hell after being raised by the government is, because I don't believe that she would have the obsession with humanity if she had witnessed Chainsaw Man's actions first. So she witnesses the twisting and distortion of creation itself as Chainsaw consumes devils one after another, rewriting history. Makima was basically in the eye of a storm of epic proportions. She watched a devil committee sin against creation itself and destroy and remake reality as a result. Is it any wonder that she would become obsessed with such a thing? In a sense, she witnessed the birth of a new reality dozens upon dozens of times over. This is the point in which Makima becomes obsessed with Chainsaw Man, an obsession she only ever had with humanity before. Hence she concludes that she must make Chainsaw Man hers so that she can make use of his power for humanity's sake. A twisted love is born. From here, Makima seeks to gather strong allies which would allow her to fight against the Chainsaw Devil, the Four Horsemen, the Weapon Devils, and probably many more that no longer exist. Amongst them is Angel, who was taken in by Makima, and we all know how that horror went down. Makima continues to consolidate power within the Public Hunter organization, and Kishibe began his counter-movement, as I believe that there is no way in the short period of time that the story went on that he could have possibly rallied so many people against Makima without prior involvements in such a cause. We then of course have Makima shortly after Pochita's disappearance, searching for him, most likely making use of a network of spies, informants and animals that she has control over the world for, searching for Pochita in the hopes of finding him either before he is able to regain his strength or before he manages to skip back to hell. This of course would lead us quite nicely into the beginning of the story, Makima already having her secret army in reserve just waiting for the appearance of Chainsaw Man, only for Pochita to merge with Denji and screw up her plans completely, so she is forced to play along with Denji so that she can get what she actually wants. That's it, that's what I foresee for Makima's backstory. Of course, this was a quick outline. I don't have the level of imagination that Fujimoto has to even come close to filling the details in with a satisfying conclusion. But you tell me your thoughts in the comments down below. I'd love to hear what you think might be added into Makima's backstory. But anyway, I've been the Anonymous Weeb, and I wish you a good day or night wherever you may be.